Big drama happening with the McLaren team as Daniel Ricciardo looks to get a payday before getting bought out of his McLaren seat. Let's get right into it. Hello, everybody. I'm Tyson De Silva, your host. This is the Formula One Digest. I'm joined with my co-host, Mark. And today we are reacting to some crazy news happening with the McLaren team. Daniel Ricciardo it looks like he's going to be bought out of his seat at McLaren. McLaren looks like they want to replace him with Oscar Piastri. Mark, what can you tell us about this Piastri and Daniel Ricciardo situation?
Yeah, so the $21 million is on the table. Well, supposedly on the table now, as Danny Ric wants that amount of money for McLaren to buy them out. They have two drivers sitting on the sidelines right now, in Oscar Piastri and Alex Palou over in IndyCar. I'm not too sure who they're gonna to shoe in at McLaren just yet. But it is looking more and more likely that McLaren CEO Zach Brown is going to take this deal from Daniel Ricciardo and buy him out of his contract, and possibly look to shoe in another driver in the McLaren seat. So I see a couple things happening here. Daniel might say, no, I don't really want the $21 million to leave F1. I'll stay, and these other two drivers will have to wait. But I'll stay and, see how things work out, and, then reevaluate at the end of my contract, which was supposed to end at 2023. Or, they do what we've said at the beginning, where they buy him out and they shoe in another driver. Now they are also in a little bit more of hot water with the Alex Palou situation. David Land on YouTube has been covering that situation really well. You can go check him out over on his YouTube channel and get all the details about that. But basically, Alex Palou has a contract that is signed to be driving in F1. It was just released today, some of the court documents or legal documents from both sides, Chip Ganassi and Alex Palou's management. And it said that he is intending to come back to Europe, as he's from Spain, to race in Formula One. So the whole other drama that that McLaren had with Alex Palou saying that he will be a McLaren driver next year, it is kind of looking more and more likely that if he can get his contract ixnayed over at Chip Ganassi, canceled, however you want to put it, he will be racing in Formula One. Now it's still a question as to whether or not it'll be McLaren or some other team, but it is his intention to race in Formula One in 2023.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting to see what McLaren is going to do with this seat that seems to be up for grabs, because they have a couple guys that are eligible. And for all we know, like you said, Daniel Ricciardo might not even leave. He might just say, I want to stay in F1. He wants to race in Vegas, Mark. I think that he's made that very clear. And yeah, no, I think it's unfortunate, because last year a lot of people had high hopes that him and Lando would be able to bring the glory days back to McLaren, and it certainly looked like that after their win in Monza. But no, he once again he's struggled to find the consistency, and yeah, no, it's really interesting just how it's really interesting to see how going into the season there was a lot of hope for McLaren, and now it's all doom and gloom because once again, Danny Ric has fallen off the wagon.
Yeah, and it's sad to see it, but he had his heyday at Red Bull, and was it a mistake to leave?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, probably, but he had to do what was best for Daniel Ricciardo. And with the knowledge we have now and the hindsight we have now, Red Bull wouldn't have won a championship until last year. So it still would have been another 2 years of possible struggles with the Red Bull team, and Max kind of leading the charge over in the Red Bull camp. But hindsight is hindsight, and what can you do about it?
no, definitely. And so I wanted to ask you, who do you where do you think if Daniel Ricciardo gets bought out of his seat, do you think he can still find a seat next year for the 2023 season in F1?
No, I don't think that he will find a seat, that he will be in Formula One in 2023. I don't think that he would want to go to Haas, because there are talks that Mick Schumacher might be leaving Haas to go to AlphaTauri. I don't think he'll go there. I think he'll want to go to a winning team, or a team that he can, show his skill set that we've seen from Daniel. And, if he chooses to go to a team like Haas, it'll be more of the same, and it'll be more of us asking, why did he make this move? And why did he decide to go to Haas? If he wants to race in Formula One so badly, I get it. But does he want to be tarnishing his legacy with going to a worse off team? Or should he, just bow out now and say, go to IndyCar or sports cars even? He can stay with McLaren if he goes to IndyCar. He can be bought out of his Formula One contract and be brought to IndyCar in the third car that Aero McLaren SP is supposedly bringing to the grid next year. And that is also an unknown driver. We do not know who the driver is going to be for that third seat. So, I don't think he's going to be in F1 next year, even if he can find a seat. I think whatever steps in F1 he chooses to take will be a step backwards. So I just don't see that happening.
Definitely. And I think that while there are a couple seats still available, like there is that coveted seat with Alpine, I also think that um Alpine's not going to look to get a guy who is really just been unproven for the last however long it's been since he left Red Bull. It's been almost four years now. Um, yeah, I think that they're going to look for a guy that is proven or has a better track record as of late than a guy who was good 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I think Otmar Safenauer of Alpha of Alpha not Alpha Tauri, Alpine has said that he is not looking to hire Daniel Ricciardo. So that seat may or may not be off the table, because when it comes to Otmar, we're not really sure what his actual intentions are.
Oh yeah, he keeps it under wraps. It's called misdirection.
Yeah, isn't it really? We
Yeah,
weren't even sure of we weren't even sure that Fernando Alonso was leaving uh Alpine either. So he said that he was assured that Fernando was going to resign, and look at what happened.
yeah, honestly. And then I think that again, kind of talking about the Piastri drama there, I think that it was a bit of a panic move to just announce him as their driver without really getting it confirmed like in writing. But Alpine still has is still a team that is desired. I think there's definitely going to be guys that want that seat in F1, and one guy I'd like to see is Pierre Gasly. But yeah, no, we'll definitely see what happens to that Alpine seat. But going back to McLaren, who do you think has the better shot of having that second seat if Daniel Ricciardo is bought out? Is it Alex Palou? Is it Oscar Piastri? Or I believe, isn't there a third guy named Patrick Ward that also has like ties to the
Oh yeah, Pato Award, Mexican driver, in IndyCar right now. Pato, he's also somebody who's tested with McLaren. He did the young drivers test at the end of the year, in Abu Dhabi last year, and has his sights set on eventually coming over to Formula One from IndyCar. There's also Colton Herta, who is also in the mix for McLaren. He is actually a contracted McLaren driver, as well as a Andretti contracted driver. He has a test and reserve role for McLaren, and Colton Herta is a fabulous IndyCar driver, one of the fastest on the grid, and a definite shoe-in for the next American to be in F1. But the person I think they are going to bring in to fill Daniel Ricciardo's seat, if Daniel does get bought out, I think it's going to be Oscar Piastri. I think the legal drama with Alex Palou might see him sidelined from both F1 and IndyCar next season. And both Pato and Colton, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I don't think they have the super license points just yet to race in Formula One. So they would need to either do some more testing and get some more mileage in F1 machinery, to get those super license points to be eligible for the super license to drive in F1. So it definitely can't be those two drivers unless somehow they miraculously manage to get all of the testing and super license requirements. But I think it's definitely going to be Oscar Piastri, because there have been rumors that during the Formula E Prix in Great Britain, in London, Mark Webber, Oscar's manager and former F1 driver, it was rumored that he was talking to Zach Brown, McLaren CEO, at the Formula E Prix. So I think it's going to be Oscar Piastri, just off of those bases.
Yeah, I think so as well. I also think that Oscar has the biggest resume being an F2 champion. So that also kind of helps lean more towards him. But again, until they make a decision, for all we know, Daniel Ricciardo could still be a McLaren driver next year, though I find it highly unlikely. It's going to be really interesting to see how it unfolds.
Definitely. And I think this silly season has been the craziest that I've ever experienced in the last 4 years of Formula One.
Well, it starts with Piastri saying, "Oh hell no, I'm not driving for Alpine." Like, wow, man, that's something else. But no, if you guys have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think. Do you think that Daniel's going to have a seat next year? Do you think it's with McLaren, Haas? Does he find another seat elsewhere for a different racing league? And who do you think is going to get the McLaren spot if Daniel is bought out? All this and more, just let us know in the comments, and we will see you guys in the next one.